Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand the closing action on the D Street. Well, the Nifty is holding steady above 22,500 as of now. There's a 112 point of an uptick that you actually see. There's also a support coming in from various sectors like pharma, financial services, private banks, autos, metals as well. It's the broader markets that are performing better. You can see the mid caps that are up over half odd percent in trade. So better than the benchmark index as of now. So barring a few sectors that have actually slipped, so you have IT, realty, FMCG, PSU banks that have slipped into the red, and also the media stocks, but rest of the pockets are still holding up in trade with over a percent gains coming in on three sectors, particularly on pharma, financial services and the private banks as well. Top movers also, it's the financial services names like Bajaj Finserv and Bajaj Finance holding up in trade today. You have Dr. Reddy's, SBI Life, Trent also climbing up by over 2.8 odd percent, Axis Bank. These are the stocks that are actually holding up. Whereas on the downside on the Nifty, you have again IT names like Wipro that's down, FMCG names like both ITC and Britannia that are sulking today, Hero Moto, Bharat Petroleum and Nestle. These are the other pockets that are actually declining on the Nifty. But you do see some interesting names in the broadest index, the Nifty 500. So you have names like Lipsa Gems, that's on the up move. You have LG Equipments, that's something that Vaishali Parekh in the morning had taken out as her top call for the day, and it's really turned out well, 12% higher nearly. Nuvama Wealth is up and about, KC International, that's also buzzing, TD Power, Samhi Hotels, Kamath Hotels. So hotels and hospitality names are also buzzing in trade. IEX is buzzing in trade from the broadest index as well. So many such stocks which are the talking points. But let's get our guest on board to really understand the mood of the market. We have Mr. Brijesh Ail joining in on the show with us. Warm welcome, Brijesh. Thank you so much for taking the time out. Tell us, how are you looking at the markets at this point in time? What stands out for you? Is this a market that is giving you enough opportunity, or is it absolutely sideways and a very, very stock selective opportunity?
Afternoon, Sakshi. So basically, I think today is after a very long time, after the previous week, during the last week, the market was in a consolidation phase, and today it looks like there has been a fresh longs are been added in the market. So my understanding is that in Nifty, once we trade about 22,600, we are going to see some bounce in the market, and this extension of this bounce can be seen. So more or less, I think this week we may see index heading toward 23,000 levels. So the bias remains positive. Previous week the low was 22,300. So this would be the immediate support or maybe the stop loss for whatever the longs I will be taking. So 23,300 or 22,300 will be the stop loss, and I will be talking of 23,000 on the higher side for the Nifty.
Okay. What about the Nifty Bank? Is this better placed than the Nifty as of now in terms of the structure?
No, like the bank nifty, even though the some few banking stocks are performing, but then bank nifty on its own, it's still like it's not outperforming. Like this level of 48,000 is the immediate demand zone, but then still the core writers are extremely aggressive at 48,500 and 48,600. So as long as this position doesn't get unwinded,
Yeah.
bank nifty will be in a sideways or maybe a like congestion zone.
Okay. Today as a sector which is standing out is the pharma space, with strong moves being seen across the board. Dr. Reddy's is the top mover as well. And even if we look further than the large cap names, we'll find even the laboratory stocks buzzing in trade, healthcare names as well, CDMO spaces too. So you have Granules that's up 4%, you have Biocon that's buzzing, Natco after a long haul is coming back in flavor, Cipla, Alchem Labs, Oro Pharma, a lot of these mid-cap pharma names also buzzing in trade. What's your own suggestion when it comes to the pharma pack as of now? What looks good to you?
So basically, both this Dr. Reddy and Cipla is extremely positive. I think the base is already formed, and Dr. Reddy was one stock which was correcting all this while. So I expect a very good bounce in the Dr. Reddy, somewhere close to 1200, 1250. That should be the bounce for the Dr. Reddy. Even somebody wants to take the in the money call option, it also looks feasible, even though we have very limited time for the expiry. But then 1150 can be somebody wants to take a position that is advisable. Plus, the momentum which is just picked up is the Cipla. Cipla, I believe it has given a very strong range breakout, and 1500 is the small resistance which I believe it will be taken off. And in the near term, 1560, 1600 should be the trading opportunity for the Cipla.
Okay, so that's as far as the pharma space is concerned. Let's actually look at some of the stocks which have been in news all through today and see what's actually, going to be the next move forward. Let's pull up from the auto space Ola Electric. That's something that we should be looking at. Again, there's an over 7% cut. The stock has slipped below 47 odd levels. It's now, of course, pulled up from the day's lowest point, but again, it's still trades over 7% cuts at this point in time. Of course, two key reasons why we are seeing such a sharp fall. There is this concern about payment default. One of the vendors has taken Ola Electric to NCLT, looking at insolvency options as well, even though Ola has talked about, and given their own stance saying that they are legally looking at some of the options available with them at this point in time. But troubles have continuously been mounting on Ola Electric. Brijesh, first it was customer related concerns that it was coming in. There have been a lot of service and security related concerns for the company. Even though they have been launching so many newer models in various segments, they have continued to maintain their market share in terms of EV two-wheelers plays. But there are too many problems right now inherent in the company, and that's what is bogging down. It's slipped to an all-time low, much below its own IPO price as well. In the last 3 months, it's not a joke. A 51% cut is what we've already seen from the highs as well for Ola Electric. And those who had actually got the IPO allotment are actually stuck in the stock at much higher levels. How are you advising some of your clients on this stock right now?
So purely from the technical perspective, it is making a lower low and it is almost at the 52-week low, and it looks like more damage can be seen. So definitely there is no relief rally as of now. I heard somewhere saying that they can the management is telling that the margins may improve, but then it doesn't look in the prices. So it's extremely weak. So it can so since the prices have fallen so sharply, there can be some bounce back, but then that would be an opportunity to exit. Basically, from the current level of 46, even if we see the level of 55.60, that should be viewed as a exit as of now. This is what we would be saying. And fresh longs, or maybe since we have already started, one would look for averaging. So that is it's absolutely not there. So we are not going to average and not going to add any fresh buys. By any chance, we will hold on the position and closer to 55.60, we'll just take the exit and then we'll review it.
Got it. So that's as far as Ola is concerned. Let's also look at some stocks on the positive side. I want to talk about IEX, which is the top mover on the F&O space today. There's a 6% uptick on this one. But remember, the stock is already down, about 35% from its peak already. What's the sense here? The rebound that we are seeing, that also comes in the same time as we are looking at summers onset to start in the north part of India, that again will be looking at power related demand further surging higher. Do you think for those who have been looking at IEX all through this downturn may actually be in for some kind of a recovery during the summer months? Should one look at IEX afresh? Because 30% of a fall from last 6 months, is this the right level to look at IEX at?
Let's take it from the expiry point of view, because I
Okay.
can see 165, 170 is a level where again the call writers are extremely active.
Okay.
To at least till for the March series, it will be very difficult for it to cross 170. So it's already 162 and the momentum has already started. I think the move came start from the level of 150. So 150 to 175, sorry, 170. So this is only 20 points move in the IEX. So somebody who's having a position can bet for another 8, 10 points. But then I think closer to 170, there will be some resistance. And even from the long-term perspective, the level of 180 is the 200-day moving average. So as long as we don't see a very strong close above 170, 175 post expiry, The trending move, I'm not very confident about the trending move. So, but maybe from the current point, we can talk of a small opportunity. From 162, we can bet for 170. Not very extremely at 170. 165 is also a small hurdle. But if that gets shifted, I think 170 can be the maximum upside as of now for the current expiry.
Okay, fair point. So that's as far as IEX is also concerned. Let's discuss one key theme that we've been all talking about, gold. As gold prices continue to soar to newer highs. As of the weekend, we actually saw on spot gold prices 91,000 rupees per 10 grams being crossed in various parts of the country. And MCX gold, although has showed a slight bit of ease from that all-time high today, it slipped below 88,000 rupees per 10 grams, but $3,000 an ounce for even international gold. So both internationally and domestically, we've seen gold soaring to all-time highs. This has brought back focus to a lot of gold-focused companies like gold financiers, Muthoot and Manappuram Finance, even exchange-related stocks like MCX for that instance. That's coming back into focus. So let's find out if, in case you want to really play the gold-related theme, are these the pockets that you should be looking at? How about these particular few stocks, Brijesh? Do they appeal to you at this point?
So, yeah, definitely there has been some buying volumes which we have observed. Specifically, if you look the Muthoot Finance, this is one stock which has opened with a gap up, and there has been an above average volume in today's session, and I think this momentum should continue. 2350, 2400 is what I believe it would be the directional trend for this particular stock. And many of these particular stocks are moving in the higher trend. Manappuram, I believe it might be the brand or something, but then Muthoot is something which is suggesting a good trade setup, mainly because the volumes has followed this. So yes, somebody wants to have a position or even want to take a fresh entry in Muthoot Finance with today's low as a stop loss. I think that's an opportunity in Muthoot Finance. So closer to 2400, which will be the directional view for the Muthoot.
Okay, got that. So that's as far as Muthoot is concerned and how you should be looking at it. Let's again look at some other stocks. Let's look at a Nifty stock, Trent. Yeah, that's coming back on my radar. Slowly and gradually, Trent has been pulling up from its all-time lows that it hit in the recent times. It had come down sharply from its all-time highs that we had seen in 2024, back in the month of, say, October or so. And from that time, the consolidation played out. The stock had slipped below 5,000 levels, hovering around 4,800, 4,700 levels. And now it's inching back slowly and gradually. You can see, if we pull up the last 1 month or last 2 months chart, you will be able to see the kind of recovery that we've seen. Right now at 5160 odd levels. So you see, slowly and gradually the stock has been moving up. Brijesh, for those who missed out the previous rally in Trent, do you think one should play from 5,000 to 8,000 levels yet again? Is this the right level?
I would be a little bit cautious because since
Okay.
even though when we are speaking, saying that there can be an opportunity, I do believe the level of 5,000 is the very good strong demand zone. But then technically there has been a negative crossover with the like what we say like 50 and 200 has given a negative crossover, and the crossover comes at the point of 6200. So what we can do right now, we can talk of the pullback rally from the 5150 level. We can say 5600, 5700 is a pullback rally which might come on this stock. If this rally sustains and then it continues to trade positive, then the extension of this rally will be seen towards 6200. And after all this, in the near future, if 6200 is taken out, then what you're saying of 8,000, then we can bet for that. So it's a step-by-step process. So it will be too early to say whether from this point we'll be talking of 8,000. No, we will be talking of 55, 5600, 5700, and once we sustain that, then 6200, and above 6200, we will be talking of 8,000. So it will be a slow process, but then yes, somebody wants to take a long bet with the immediate stop loss, the risk reward ratio is quite favorable. With the below 5,000 as a risk, I think one can take the long bets.
Okay, fair point. So that's as far as Trent outlook is concerned. Let's look at the PSU basket. The Nifty PSE index is up 0.5%. You do see some upticks on Coal India, ONGC, REC, HAL, NHPC, BHEL, and NMDC. These are some of the stocks that are moving up. Before I ask you your favorite stocks within the PSU pack, Brijesh, NMDC is something that I wanted to discuss and make our viewers also aware of it. Remember, today is when NMDC has declared its first dividend of 2.3 rupees per equity share of a face value of 1 rupees each for FY25. That's for the ongoing fiscal year, which will end on March 31st. And the record date has been fixed on Friday, March 21st for this one. Record date will mean that shareholders who own the shares of the company as of that date, which means you'll have to buy it a day or two in advance so that you have the stock in your demat account by Friday of March 21st to be eligible for the dividend there. And that's where the stock is in focus again. Anything on NMDC that you have to share, chartically particularly speaking, Brijesh?
It is still in the range. 68, 69 is a very prominent resistance zone. So as long as this level is not taken out, and this level it has been hurdling for since Jan. So that would might act as a resistance. Today, even after that announcement, I can't see any volumes which is we can see in the NMDC. So since the volumes are missing and still a normal kind of a size of a candle, so it doesn't give any. There is no bullish candle formation. So which says that there can be some aggressive bias. So I think even though if the move comes, it will get restricted 68, 69. So only when those levels are taken out, I think that the fresh buying can be seen. But then from the current point, 68, 69 might act as a resistance zone.
Okay, fair point. So that's as far as NMDC is concerned. What about the overall PSU basket? Does that appeal to you again, Brijesh, at this point in time? Any key stocks coming onto your radar?
See, it's a slow moving. I'm not very confident whether this will come true in this expiry, but then the coal India is somehow it's forming a base. And the from the current level of 386, the writers who were very active at 400 prices, 400 sectors are now slowly reducing their short positions. So there is a fair chances that we might, on immediate basis, we might go close to 400 level. And then if it sustains, then another 8-10% kind of a rally can be seen in a coal India. So it would be a slow mover, but then definitely I think there's one small opportunity in the coal India. And coming to REC, REC is something which is also picking up strength at the current level. 420, 425 is a small resistance. I believe once this level is taken out, then there can be a reversal or maybe a change in the downtrend can be seen. And then that can easily, we can speak of another 50, 60 points from those points. Another, again, it will take a little bit longer time, but then opportunity is definitely there in the REC and the core India.
Okay, fair point. You know, the Nifty 500 basket, like I said, showing us some interesting names. I'm going to be naming a few and then we'll ask Brijesh what looks good in terms of trading strategies there. You have LG equipments like are marked now 17% higher. You know, a great call by Vaishali Parekh right in the morning before the markets had opened. She gave us this call and it's 17% uptick on LG equipments today. Asahi Songwon is up 15%, another strong mover. Lipsa Gems and Jewelry about 11% higher, but this is like a penny stock. You also have names like Kaveri Seeds Company, Dhanuka Agritech. A lot of these agro-focused names are coming back into focus, today. Greenlam Industries is up, Kamath Hotels is up in trade, Avanti Feeds is up in trade today as well. TD Power Systems, these Karur Vysya Bank, 6.5% higher. All of these interesting names in the Nifty 500 basket. What stands out for you in the Nifty 500 basket, Brijesh?
So you spoke about the LG equipment. So we also had the buying trade setup for the. So, but I believe after the 70% gain, I think we should be looking for the profit booking in this particular space from the traders' point of view. The fresh buying can be seen in UPL. I think
Okay.
UPL has given a very strong trade setup in today's session. Maybe I feel this momentum will continue towards 645, 650 level. So there is one opportunity in the UPL. And very fresh breakout can be seen in the Varun beverages at the current level at 507. I think it opens up for 525, 530 level on the higher side. So Varun beverages is one more. And lastly, I will be betting on the SBI Life. So I think again SBI Life, which was one of the stock which was corrected a bit. is now again taking support at the lower level, and in the near term it can be back to 1500 levels. So there's opportunity in the SBI Life as well.
Okay, got that. All right, let's look at some of the other names. IRFC is also in focus. It's going to be, it's announced just now that a .8 rupee per share interim dividend has been announced for IRFC as well, shareholders. So that's also led to the stock pulling up on volumes because just now the announcement has come in. Brijesh, railway stocks bouncing back slowly and gradually. How is IRFC looking to you?
On immediate basis, 120, 125 is the supply point. So let's
Hmm.
wait and watch. If its near-term outlook has to be changed, then it has to sustain above 125. So it will be too much too early to comment, but then maybe if the momentum starts, it may go to 120, 122. Only when it sustains above 125, that too on a closing basis, then most probably it may see some good reversals, or else it might see the resistance at near to 125 level.
Okay, fair point. Let's discuss one more pocket, and that's the auto space for you. Remember, today a lot of price hike announcements are coming in. In the morning, it was Maruti Suzuki that announced that they're going to be hiking the car prices by 4% starting April of 2025. This is, remember, the third time that Maruti has of late announced a price hike as well starting April of 2025. And apart from that, it was also Tata Motors that has recently announced, I think just about a few minutes ago, that price hikes will be coming in for various models and variants, and this is to offset the rise in the input costs too. So both Tata Motors and Maruti have announced price hikes today that will come in sooner for all of you to really look at in case you're looking to buy some of the vehicles from Tata Motors and Maruti, be ready to pay a higher price. Tata Motors has announced a 2% hike across commercial vehicles starting April 1st too. So both for commercial vehicles from Tata Motors, passenger vehicles for Maruti, there is going to be a higher price that you need to pay. Anything here that you'd like to highlight for our viewers, Brijesh?
Maruti, I would be a little bit cautious because I'm not because in the days high again the stock is now it's like heading little bit lower. Maybe levels of 11,000 might be some promising levels, but it's still a wait and watch kind of a scenario. But somehow I would like to take a bet on the Tata Motors because recently there is a very strong decline, and the levels of 600 is a very strong demand zone. So there would be a range for the Tata Motors. Maybe from this 20 25 points, odd points can be the range where I think somebody should try to add a few long bets because 600 to 580 is a very strong demand zone. And whenever it starts recovering, it will take a little bit of good amount of time. But then I think whenever the recovery starts, the Tata Motors can be back to 850, 900 levels. So from the long-term perspective, I think Tata Motors can be bought at this level.
Fair point. So one can definitely look at this space as well. Let's look at the Nifty next 50 basket. Varun Beverages, as was marked by Brijesh, is the top mover there. Now 4% higher. That's picking up in pace. You have ICICI Lombard from the insurance basket. Godrej Consumer, that's moving up. ICICI Pru Life also pulling up in trade. Adani Group stocks like Adani Green, Adani Energy are pulling up in pace as well. You also have names like Info Edge doing well. Zomato pulling up in trade at 203 odd levels. These are some of the stocks that are buzzing in the Nifty next 15 names. What else can we talk about? Let's look at the Nifty small cap basket. There is Chambal Fertilizers. That's buzzing. BLS International, Amber, Aegis Logistics, Angel One, CESC pulling up, all from varied sectors, and particularly marking so that you do see the kind of variety that is actually pulling up in trade in terms of the stocks. NBFC space, clearly again a lot of these brokerage related names are back. Novama is back in focus. We have already discussed Muthoot. You also have Poonawalla FinCorp, Sundaram Finance, Abbas Finances, LIC Housing. Repco Home Financing also moving up in trade today. Beyond the gold finances, anything else in the NBFC space that appeals to you, Brijesh?
No, not very sure of that particular stock, but then eventually I was looking at the ICICI Lombard
Okay.
from where you spoke, but there's a
Hmm.
good amount of reversals I can see. So one can see a bet towards the 1820, 1850 level. So I think it's a quite a strong trade setup. And with, immediately with today's low as a base as a stop loss at 1680 level, I think it's a good opportunity with the ICICI Lombard. And secondly, I
Okay.
was also keeping a watch on the Chambal. Chambal is one which is very strong in the multi-time frame. Even from the monthly and weekly perspective, Chambal is something which whenever it corrects, there is always an opportunity in Chambal. I think 650 should be the short-term target for the Chambal. So somebody wants to take a position even at this price is also advisable. And or else if somebody is already having a position, I think one should drive towards the 650, closer to 650 level.
Okay, so I think you picked up Chambal Fertilizers and UPL from the fertilizers and chemicals
Yes,
basket. From the insurance basket, you had SBI Life, and now you're also looking at ICICI Lombard. We'll keep
right.
all of these stocks in mind. Anything for the BTST or STBT perspective, Brijesh, that you'd like to highlight for our viewers for tomorrow?
Uh, yeah, okay. So I think granules is something which is just picking up the momentum. Again, this would be very strictly from the BTST point of view. From the current level of 488, I think we can easily hit 10-15 points kind of a jump in the morning trade. This is what I believe that can be a one opportunity. And Varun is also poised for the BTST. So Varun Beverages and this Granules India can be two trades where BTST can be watched for.
Fair point. Okay, thank you then, Brijesh, for being with us on the show today to highlight for all our viewers the key opportunities in this market, the strategy on the benchmarks as well. Always a pleasure to host you with us. So, seems like we are going to be ending Monday on a positive note, 22,500 with us. We're 114 points higher. Remember, it had panned out to be a choppy trade throughout the course of the day, but finally we are back above 22,500 in trade today as far as the Nifty is concerned. Nifty was largely supported by the pharma stocks today, 1.5% higher for the pharma index. So names like Dr. Reddy's clearly pulled up the show for the markets today. Cipla also supported in trade. There were many other names like Sun Pharma also pulled up in trade from the pharma pack. Apart from this, financial services, heavyweight names like Bajaj Finserv definitely pulled up. Insurance basket names were definitely in favor today. SBI Life, ICICI Lombard, ICICI Pru were up and about. Retail space, Trent was buzzing, almost ending with 3% gains. Within the banks, you had Axis Bank that was definitely playing well. Apart from this, we also had names within the auto space also pulling up in trade today. And that's largely on the back of names like Bharat Forge, M&M, Balkrishna, Ashoka Leyland, Eicher, Tata Motors, all of them showing us some traction. Metals were also up and about. Mid caps and small caps both end with near 0.7, 0.6% gains. So definitely outperforming the Nifty today. You have Hutco among the PSUs that definitely pulled up and supported the move in the mid caps. 5% higher for this one. UPL as was picked up by Brijesh. You have Muthoot Finance that we discussed on the gold financing story. Voltas, another one that Vaishali pointed out right in the morning that she was tracking this one, 4% higher. Bharat Forge, Jubilant Foodworks also improving in trade today. KPIT Technologies, Biocon, Poonawalla FinCorp, many of these names in the mid caps that definitely pulled up in trade as the front runners. You also had names within the small caps like KEC, IEX, Karur Vysya Bank, Chambal Fertilizers, again something that Brijesh threw his weight behind. And then you could see MCX, Crompton, Garden Reach Shipbuilders also pulling up in trade. Sectors, pharma, financial services, private banks, metals, auto, they continued to do the strong showing. Realty fell back. You had PSU banks and FMCG dragging a bit, and even on the Nifty, you had the top losers from the FMCG basket, ITC, Nestle, Britannia, all of them dragging. Apart from that, Hero Moto, Wipro and BPCL as those top drags. But in the F&O space, you had names like IEX pulling up, Muthoot Finance, Hutco as the top performers, whereas on the downside, LTI Mindtree, KPIT Tech and Tube Investments, which dragged in trade otherwise. So there you have it. 22,514 as far as the Nifty is concerned, 117 points higher. But we've had a positive opening for this week, but let's see whether this continues. Remember, as we go forward, we're going to be inching closer to the final decision that the US Fed really takes on interest rates, and that will be the most important global cue to track for the markets this week. Let's see whether the FIIs also further reduce their selling spree in the markets in trade today. Remember, on Thursday, there was a much lower number that we had been relatively seeing. Let's hope that improves for the better, and in case there is any sign of a reversal coming in, that could be an added on trigger. Keep an eye out on the market moves right there. Do stay with us on Business Today television, even post the market hours. The coverage will continue to get you a sense of what's buzzing on the street of business and economics. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today television. I'm Sakshi Batra, and this is